Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joel Sked and I'm delighted to be joined on this occasion by Tom Irving. How's it going, Tom?
Not bad. How you doing?
Yes, not too bad. It's been an interesting week with various things going on. It's been busy. Go way down to Fleetwood tomorrow, so looking forward to that. 4-hour drive there and 4-hour drive back. So
Visit on Pleasure Beach, I'm sure.
No, I'm very much an in and out job. I don't think I'll be venturing into Blackpool at all. We are here to talk about Hearts, of course. Don't talk about anything else. We're going to talk about Aidan Denholm. We're going to talk about Lewis Neilson, who's been linked with a move away, and we'll touch on Hearts B as well. Their season gets underway this evening at home to East Stirlingshire as well. But before we do that, yes, we're back with a message from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by our sponsors, MPH Boilers and Wiesmann. MPH Boilers is a multi-award-winning family-run plumbing and heating company covering all of mainland Scotland. Recently crowned Family Business of the Year at the 2024 Fife Business Awards. Partnering with Wiesmann, a German-engineered, highly awarded boiler manufacturer, they make a perfect match for homes across Scotland. There we go. That was it. That was nice and brief. It's not as long as previous ones, nor is there a chance to win a trip to Trump Tower in Las Vegas either. But we will firstly talk about Aidan Denholm. Just been confirmed that he's moved, or in the last hour, been confirmed that he's moved to Ross County on a season-long loan. What were your first impressions seeing that, Tom?
I think it makes sense. The only strange thing for me is the timing of it, with the squad restrictions for Europe. I was expecting all of our young Scottish contingent to be with the squad until Christmas time, and then majority of them to go out on loan unless they were, they'd firmly broken into the first team and were playing regularly. So yeah, I was a bit surprised at that. But yeah, apart from that, I think it's a good move. I think Don Curry's probably a pretty similar type of player as Aidan is. And yeah, he's a model professional. He seems like a really good manager. I think it's a good move from him. Probably learn a lot from Don. So yeah, I'm pretty on board with it. Happy to see him going into the top tier as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people would probably say maybe move to the Championship and guarantee your spot, week in, week out. But if he's looking to be at Hearts next year and make an impression next year, then he needs to be playing regularly at a Premiership club, or he probably is not going to be good enough at his age. So, yeah.
I after Civic left, I had the inkling that maybe there would be some more on the horizon, but I kind of assumed maybe Nathaniel Atkinson. He's obviously effectively up for sale. Denholm, I thought would maybe leave on loan later on in the window. With regards to the European squad list, someone asked me that on Twitter/X. The Denholm doesn't make too much of a difference. Yes, he's homegrown, but because of his age, he can be included on the B list. So he doesn't actually, it doesn't really count as one of like Craig Gordon. He'll take up one of the homegrown ones. So at the unless Hearts bring back like Jason Holt and Callum Patterson, then the likes of those, it's the squad for Europe is essentially going to be restricted in terms of the senior players, just because there's not enough who have come through this squad and are over a certain age. I think it might be 20. It's 21, 22 or 23. I can't remember exactly what it is, but essentially he would be on the B list, like Macaulay Tate as well, James Wilson. Other ones they'll be on the B list, so they don't make too much of a difference. But I did think you'd maybe hang around or be part of the squad until later on in the window, especially with Benny and Callum Newhoff having had injuries and unlikely to start the season against Rangers. But at the same time, it probably does make a wee bit it does make more sense when you look at Malachi Boateng. Hearts are favourites to sign him, despite interest from Italy, despite interest from England. If he come with Denholm leaving, you're expecting he will be arriving pretty soon. And then for Denholm himself, I think you said that you got spot on with Don Cowie, working under Don Cowie's important. I think you have to remember that last season was Denholm's first season as a first-team player, kind of breakthrough season. Played 24 matches in all competitions. But when you look at the competition in midfield, you've got Devlin. So when everyone's fit, Devlin, Benny, Macaulay Tate, George Grant, Callum Newhoff, Blair Spittle, Jan Danda. It's going to be another season where he's probably going to play a bit part role, and you're thinking, like you said, it's probably a good thing at Ross County. Probably going to get a lot more minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, it might seem like odd timing, but then we've got to remember there's two clubs involved in this transfer. Ross County, they've got a season to prepare for, just like
exactly.
we do. So they could have said, we take him now or we don't take him, which maybe a little bit early for us, but I think it might have just been the best option for all parties involved.
Yeah, and I don't think so. What would make me? I know Hearts are. I think they're confident of getting Boateng. So this leads me to believe they're even more confident of getting Boateng if they're allowing Denholm to go and then to bring someone else in. Because you look at it at the moment, we've got essentially got Macaulay Tate. Who's kind of fit, Macaulay Tate, Cammy Devlin, George Grant. I think I just got told the other day that he was going to be back up with the squad soon just because he had to leave for a personal matter. That's why I wasn't in the photo shoot. And then you've got Blair Spittle and Jan Danda. Am I missing anyone else?
So I was just trying to think. I don't think you are. I think that's everyone. Hopefully,
I really should always have. I should always have a squad list, especially with the size of the squad. I don't think I'm missing. Finlay Pollock as well. I think probably important to talk about Finlay Pollock just because he is someone I've got very high hopes for. He's rated very highly. Anytime you speak to Naismith about him, Naismith speaks with a lot of energy about him, and you just wonder if he can stay fit. Then there's potentially opportunities for him as well. So yeah, it's understandable when you've seen that Aidan Denholm was playing right back throughout pre-season, both in training and games. Then it certainly makes sense to go somewhere where yes, he's going to get Premiership experience, but get more minutes and play more regularly in the midfield role to see, and then he can come back next summer, still under contract until 2026 as well. So yeah, I think it's. When you break it down, it's a move that you can get on board with.
Yeah, definitely.
And what about Lewis Neilson? There's been links with a move to St Johnstone. I think there's interest from other clubs as well, understandably. I think a lot of clubs look at Lewis Neilson and think he would be a good pickup on loan. Do you think, do you reckon he's kind of similar boat to Aidan Denholm, where you're looking where his minutes are going to come from, and it's probably maybe better to play somewhere in the Premiership and get more regular football? Yeah,
I would say so. He's only, I should have checked this, 19, 20, is it? 20 that is right now?
I'm just Googling now. I think he might be 20 now. 21 now. He's 21 and he turned 21 in May.
Okay. So I wasn't that far off. Right. So yeah, he's 21 now. He's getting to that age where, you kind of break through. But obviously, breaking through isn't like linear. It's not like you have to break through by the age of 18 or else you're not going to be up there. Some people just mature a little bit later. And for a position that's so, so important, but it's like if you make a little mistake when you're a forward, it's fine. If you make a little mistake when you're centre back, it's noticed. Game lost. Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, I feel like it's a good place for him to go. St Johnstone, with all respect to them, they probably aren't going to be fighting at the top end of the table. They're probably going to be on the back foot a little bit more often. So he should get a lot of chances to show his defending ability. Which just thinking that just now, probably Partick were probably on the front foot quite a lot last year. So he probably didn't see as much action. As he will with St Johnstone, obviously coming up against a higher quality player as well. And again, speaking about the manager, Craig Levine, he's a brilliant defender. I've got no qualms about him being able to develop a defender. It's one thing he definitely is able to do. So yeah, I think again he could learn from the manager quite a lot. yeah, I think it'd be a good move for them. Really do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, again, I've repeated myself with Denholm, but it's hard to, like, you look at Stephen Kingsley, look at Stephen Kingsley, Daniel Oyegoke, Kai Rolls, Craig Halkett, Frankie Kent, and even Gerald Taylor can play centre back in a 3. And you just look, we talked about his age. You just want him. He's at age now where he wants to play regularly, and having done so in the Championship last season, the natural step is to play in the Premiership this season. And make a very good point about Craig Levein. He's developed a lot of good centre backs over his time as a manager. And with St Johnstone, I look at their squad, I think they could struggle this season, and they're going to have to do a lot of defending. And that's probably aspects of Neilson's game where you want him to have to essentially be switched on at all times, focused at all times, because you look at him and there's definitely the physical capabilities there. Seeing him up close, he's an absolute unit. I wouldn't like to get a bear hug or a punch off him, but it's more, I think it's important for him to basically work under a manager in a team where that's got to be harnessed and into being on it all the time defensively. And I think there'll need to be an aggression there as well, because you look at him, he's got all the capabilities physically to be a dominant defender, and I think we've seen his ability on the ball is that kind of ball playing defender, but it's being a consistent defender who defends first and foremost. I think that's a really important attribute or aspect of his game to improve.
Yeah, and am I right in thinking he broke through at Dundee United when they were in the Premiership? Is that right? Back in the day.
Yeah. I think he originally broke through.
So it's not like he's played there for Hearts, and he made his debut there back in the day. So it's not like he's not played at this level before. He just needs regular game time at this level, really.
He's played 23 games in the Premiership, 36 in the Championship. So getting a full season, taking that 23 games up to what nearly, if he can get over 60 games in the Premiership, would be massive for his development. Again, one of the aspects of it, I wouldn't be surprised for a 6-month loan deal with the potential to come back during the season. His contract's up in 2025, so I think this is really important in the next 6 months for him. If he does go on loan, or if it's just an important season for him, whether they see him as a centre back at Hearts kind of longer term.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows where we'll be this point next year. Hopefully pushing for Europe, or hopefully in Europe again. And when that kind of performance happens 2 years in a row, a lot of the players are on the market because you're clearly performing. So it wouldn't surprise me if offers came in for some of our defenders. I think luckily though, with Kent and with who else am I thinking of right now? With Kent and with Kingsley, I don't see them leaving anytime soon. I just feel like they're happy, they're comfortable here, they're playing well, they're loved, and they're at that age where they're probably trying to settle down a little bit more. But potentially the likes of Rolls could, if he has a good season, could have a few bids coming in from, or the other ones you mentioned as well.
I think you make a good point. I think you look at Kingsley and Kent and Halkett as well. I think again Halkett he needs a run of games, I think, himself, just to get back to that match sharpness we saw against Leyton Orient, that he was still a wee bit off it. Yeah. But these guys they're kind of just like your stalwarts, like they provide continuity. Yeah, they are there as part of like kind of the furniture of Hearts, and you can build around them. But Kai Rolls, I think if you look at him performing well in Europe, I think Europe suits his game more. And you're looking, if he has a good Europe 6 months in Europe, with his background as internationalist and his skill set, I think there could be a lot of European teams in for him. And then similar, Taylor and Oyegoke. We've seen very little from so far, but they are in the same boat where they're at an age and got the kind of potential physical capabilities that, again, teams would be interested in them if they do well in Europe. We'll finish up by discussing Hearts B. They are starting their league campaign, their third season in the Lone League tonight at Ainslie Park against Stirlingshire. It's a team that you've seen a wee bit of last season, Tom. I've seen a wee bit of them. Spoke to Liam Fox this week, wrote a piece on Callum Sandilands as well, and it's always interesting with the B team just because there's natural progression of players moving up, moving away. So like Mackenzie Kirk, gone to St Johnstone, then you've got Bailey Dall and Liam McFarlane who've got to that stage where they've now gone on loan elsewhere. Is there anyone within the group who stands out for you that you'd kind of tell fans or urge fans to keep an eye on this season, or you got high hopes for that could in time break in at the first team?
Yeah, definitely. So first thing I would say, I'm looking forward to seeing who's actually there, because if there might be a couple of players away with the first team who potentially Sandilands, I think is the one that I'm thinking might not play a part. Hope he does, because he's a brilliant player. But yeah, my two favourites is probably Sandilands, who is kind of getting a lot of airtime now. Everyone's speaking about him a little bit more, and he's been in with the first team. The other two would be Bobby McLuckie and Gus Stevenson, brilliant players in my opinion. Bobby McLuckie is one of my favourite styles of player. He's just like a direct, exciting winger. But
he's just, sorry to interrupt you, but he's like an old-fashioned winger. You see a lot of wingers now who play inverted. They like to come infield and get onto the stronger foot. He's very much I'll take the fullback out on the byline. Yeah,
exactly, and it's my favourite type, and you don't really see it as much nowadays. I guess Forrest is a bit like him, but we don't really have anyone else like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's very exciting to watch, and I think if he can kind of reach the levels I think he can, then he'll be in the first team this season. And then Gus Stevenson, he's not spoken about as much, but he's just a very tidy, energetic, and fun to watch at a midfielder. I think again he could be another one that could. I think last season he's still pretty young, so I think this year he's now getting up to the kind of older age in the age group, and I think he's going to start coming into his own, and he'll be the next one people are talking about, I think.
Yeah, I was impressed with him at the start of last season. I think we spoke about at one of the games we were at the start of last season. He's someone that, when speaking to Liam Fox, Fox has always kind of talked about the ladder, that there's a lot of fluidity between in the B team, from going from the B team to the 18s if you're young enough, and then from the B team, or even in the 18s to the B team to the first team, or dropping down from the first team. That there's always going to be that movement, kind of rewarding players who have been doing well in the 18s, for example, or needing to fill a gap. Or needing to fill a gap if someone's gone up to train with the first team. So there's always that kind of fluidity, and I think Gus Stevenson was that last season. He would go into the B team, but he would also sometimes not be with the B team. He'd be playing for the 18s, and he's one of the guys, like you said, this season where you probably notice him more, because I think he'll probably be more consistently playing for the B team. I think there'll be a few in that in that range. He's certainly someone that I like the look of. Completely agree with Sandilands and Bobby McLuckie as well. Both Sandilands and McLuckie, they were with the first team at times last season. I think at times it was quite regular with the first team training. They both made at least one bench. I think Sandilands made a couple. McLuckie was on the bench against Greenock Morton in the Scottish Cup, I think. Certainly McLuckie's, both are very exciting players when you break it down. One's you'd say old-fashioned winger in McLuckie, and the other one's the potential to be a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah.
Goal scorer, even a goal scorer midfielder.
Yeah.
Not on your goal.
He's very fun to watch. Sandilands. I think the last time I saw him, I can't remember who they're playing against, but he just played an incredible ball. The ball was like bouncing in front of him, and he did it wasn't an overhead kick, but it was like a kind of side kick over his shoulder, like through a ball. I can't even describe it. I had to go watch it, but I text my friend and said he just played this pass, and I had to text go watch it before I described it to him, because I didn't even understand what had happened. But yeah, he's just one of those players that you just love to watch, and I think when he gets into the first team, people are going to be very excited by him.
Absolutely. I think I know, having spoken to Naismith and having spoken to folk around Hearts, that he is highly thought of, and he's someone that both Fox and Naismith like. A couple of guys I'm looking forward to seeing more of. I don't know quite a lot about, like Matthew Gillis. Then there's Ethan Drysdale. Felt really sorry for him when he got injured against Leyton Orient, because again, he is someone he's had his injury issues, but Hearts have kind of tried to give him time, because once again, he's someone that they like a lot. So when I spoke to Fox, I actually forgot to ask him how Drysdale is, because it looked like he had done his hamstring. So it'd be interesting to see when he comes back in. And looking forward to seeing a couple of the new boys as well. They brought in a couple of young boys from down south. Henry Lister as a left-sided defender, and there is
Tom Plank. That's the one I was I couldn't remember his name there.
Tom Plank,
he came in from. He was at Dorking and stuff. Is that right?
So he was. I think he came in for Wolves, but
yeah. So he was on. I don't know if I remember seeing him actually a while ago when he was, I think, 15. I think he broke into the first team at Dorking. You know, the one with the there's a guy that runs them. He does a lot on social media, so they get advertised all the time. I'm sure you've probably seen his
I've probably come across
his clips across social media of him behind the scenes managing and stuff. But yeah, he broke through in their squad when I think he was 15. He's got his debut in the cup of some sort, and he scored a goal in his debut. And I remember seeing him. I remember his name, and then when we signed him, and I couldn't think why he was familiar. And then it kind of it came to me. But I remember them speaking about him then, saying he's very exciting, very skillful, kind of attacking player. So I think he's, out of those two, I think he's the one I'm looking forward to seeing the most. After coming through, getting picked up by Wolves after his time in Dorking. Really interested to see him actually.
Yeah, I've heard good things about him in pre-season as well. So a winger, I think, just an exciting player. Both him and Lister, they came up on trial, having Hearts kind of knew about them. They played against Lister. They got kind of told about Plank, and they were able to get good information on, good footage on him to decide that he's worthwhile to pursue. So yeah, those two, and obviously Jamie McDonald as well.
Very excited to see him.
his signings caused a few comments from elsewhere in the Lowland League, but as Fox said, that there's method behind it, because they've got two keepers that are 16 and 15. They don't want to just expose them straight to the Lowland League. They want to give them time to develop well, slowly, giving them that exposure. So yeah, he'll. I think he's on the face of it a shrewd signing, because he knows what it's like to be a Hearts, knows what it's like to come through. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to going to Ainsley Park to see that, and hopefully see more of the B team this season. Before we finish up, I'll just bring in a few of the comments from YouTube. Macaulay at MUFC, Simon's HMFC prediction for the match against Rangers. It's a wee bit. We'll do a prediction next week, but all I'll say is at the moment I'm confident. That guy from Palace is a right good player, says Mark Vega. He'll do well beside Benny. From my view, I'm not sure you play him and Benny together. I think they're two. I think both. Macaulay Boating is there to provide depth in that position. No doubt you probably can play them together in certain games, but I think it would be certainly at home overly cautious to do so.
I think people forget that Devlin can do the job that we're expecting. We kind of hope Malachi will do, but he also is looking like he's becoming a little bit more of a box-to-box midfielder as well. So, but yes, I think we'll see more of the Devlin Benny partnership this year. But yeah, I guess we could play those two together as well.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would say that it might be with Benny as a 6, and then like maybe Spittle and Devlin as 8s, getting up and down. I think Grant will be in there as well. Keith Glasgow says, shame they didn't try to go for Jimmy Dunn. Free transfer, left-sided, good in there, defensively and offensively, knows the club, Europe as an attraction. He would be a very, very popular signing. He was brilliant when he was on loan previously, but I would imagine he would have been on decent money down south. We will leave it there. Tom, thank you very much for jumping on to discuss the latest with me. I'll be back, probably James, who is moving on to a different role next week, but we'll be back at the start of next week to discuss the Fleetwood friendly, and then there'll be plenty of videos going up next week, looking ahead to the start of the season, looking ahead to the Rangers game as well. And of course, there is the Hearts Standard Live in partnership with Big Hearts. That takes place on Tuesday, July 30th, not the 29th, as I always say. It's July 30th, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. in the Gorgie Suite. We'll be joined by Ryan Stevenson. I am about to announce another guest. I may as well do it now before I tweet out. We'll also be joined by Andrew Webster as well, who he is, of course, working at the club as head of academy, and we're hoping to get at least one more guest wrapped up for the event on Tuesday. So find that I'll put a link to the tickets in the description box. If not, go onto Heart Standard website or Twitter, and you'll find links to the tickets for the event. So hopefully see as many of you as possible on Tuesday night. But until next week, thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much, Tom, for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.